Today marks, at least in my opinion, the darkest day of the church year, the Feast of the Holy Innocents. We're skipping ahead in the story of Christmas to Epiphany, to the arrival of the Magi, the three wise men. Now, in their search for the newborn king, they arrive quite naturally at the palace, and in doing so, meet Herod, the ruler of Judea. Now, Herod is a nasty piece of work. He's ruthless and he's cruel, and he's a pretender to the throne installed by the Romans, which makes him only more ruthless and cruel, wary of any legitimate claimant. So having learned of this new king from the Magi, he sends them on ahead with instructions to return with the location so that he might go and worship too. He has no intentions of worshipping, however. Instead, he plans to go and snuff out this young life before he becomes a threat. Now, as you may know, the Magi are warned in a dream of Herod's plans, and so return home via a different route. And so Herod's rage and his cruelty grow. Having learned when the star that marked the birth of this new king first appeared, he orders that all infant boys under the age of 2 in Bethlehem are to be killed. It's awful. It's quite frankly beyond words. Christmas these days seems to be all about family, doesn't it? About gathering together with family to celebrate, and particularly with children. In our commercial world, Christmas seems targeted most strongly at them. And so the childless and those whose children have died are forgotten or swept under the rug. The story of Christmas itself is filled with children, isn't it? There's the young Mary who miraculously conceives despite never having had sex. There's the aged Elizabeth who's been trying with her husband for many years to have a child with little success, who suddenly and miraculously conceives. Miracle babies abound in the story of Christmas. But not here. Not today. Here on this day is a moment for the women who long for a child, but who cannot conceive. For the parents who mourn for their children, whether they died in miscarriage, stillbirth, or later in life. Here, as the prophet Jeremiah writes, a cry is heard in Ramah, mourning and great weeping. Rachel weeping for her children and refusing to be comforted, because they are no more. No one else records the deaths of these children. There are no other records. No historian of the time records it. Why would they? It's a backwater town in a backwater province. But God records it. God sees it, and it matters to him. Their deaths are recorded in Scripture, and their short lives are remembered by the church today. Christmas seems to be all about family, doesn't it? But in the birth of Jesus, a new family is created. In his birth, a new family is brought to birth. One joined not by birth or by blood, but drawn together through faith in Jesus. A family where the widow, the 90-year-old bachelor, the childless couple, the mourning parent, the young single woman, and the newborn child are brought together, made members of one another, where each has a role, each has a part, each is brother and sister, son and daughter, part of the family of God. In this season, which seems to be all about family and children, God sees the childless and those who mourn for their children. He sees and he draws near, drawing us into his family as beloved, precious children of God.